Have you ever looked back at a past relationship, a friendship, or a toxic workplace and asked yourself a very disturbing question? You look back and you wonder, why in the world did I do so much for that person? You sacrificed your precious time, you spent your hard-earned money, and you drained your emotional energy for someone who gave you absolutely nothing but disrespect in return. And the most terrifying part of that memory is not the time you lost. The terrifying part is the realization that the more you sacrificed for them, the more intensely attached to them you became. Your logic told you to walk away, but your actions tied you closer to your abuser. You might think you were just being a good person, or that you were blinded by love, or that you simply lacked boundaries. You are entirely wrong. You were not acting out of love. You were experiencing a catastrophic error in the matrix of your own mind. You were the victim of a biological brainwashing protocol. Today, I am going to teach you the dark power of cognitive dissonance. I am going to show you exactly how to force a psychological glitch in the brain of anyone you choose, whether it is a bitter rival, a cold romantic interest, or a toxic boss. By the end of this video, you will possess the exact framework to make someone who actively dislikes you completely rewrite their own internal feelings, convincing themselves that they are fiercely loyal to you. But I must issue a severe warning right now. We are crossing the boundary from dark psychology into the literal hacking of the human identity. Once you understand how easily a human being can be forced to brainwash themselves, you will realize that human loyalty is not a noble virtue. It is nothing more than a mathematical equation that can be manipulated at will. To understand how to weaponize this glitch, we must first dissect the fundamental architecture of the human ego. The human brain has a very strict biological security firewall. It demands absolute internal consistency. Your brain needs your beliefs, your values, and your physical actions to align perfectly. It needs the story you tell yourself to make sense. If you believe you are a smart person, your brain expects you to make smart choices. If you believe you hate someone, your brain expects you to treat them with hostility. But what happens when you introduce a contradiction? What happens when your physical actions directly violate your internal beliefs? When this occurs, the brain experiences a severe, almost unbearable psychological pain. This agonizing state of mental friction is called cognitive dissonance. Your brain literally cannot tolerate this state of contradiction. It feels like a threat to your very identity. Because the brain cannot go back in time and undo the physical action you just took, it takes the path of least resistance to cure the pain. It completely rewrites your internal belief system to match your physical actions. The brain lies to itself to survive the contradiction. This brings us to the ultimate counterintuitive secret of human influence. Since the beginning of time, society has fed you a massive, crippling lie about how to get people to like you. Conventional wisdom says that if you want someone to like you, you should do them a favor, you should buy them a coffee, help them with their workload, or shower them with compliments and gifts. This is completely and utterly wrong. When you constantly do favors for someone who does not respect you, you are placing yourself in the submissive, lower status frame. You are acting like a servant, and human beings do not respect servants. To hack their brain and force their loyalty, you must do the exact opposite. You must engineer a scenario where you make them do a difficult favor for you. When you force an enemy, a rival, or an indifferent person to invest their time and energy into helping you, you intentionally trigger massive cognitive dissonance in their mind. Think about the internal monologue of their brain when this happens. Their brain says, "Wait a minute, I do not like this person. I actually think they are arrogant and annoying, but I am currently spending my valuable Saturday afternoon helping them edit a massive project. Why am I doing this? Am I a weak person who just gets used by people I hate? The brain cannot accept that it is weak or easily manipulated. The pain of that realization is too high, so the firewall activates and the brain quickly rewrites the narrative. The brain says, "Actually, I must not hate them. In fact, now that I think about it, they are pretty interesting. I am helping them because I actually respect them and I value their potential." Boom! The glitch is complete. In a matter of seconds, their brain has completely brainwashed itself to resolve the cognitive dissonance. They went from secretly plotting your downfall to actively rationalizing why they are your ally, and they did all the psychological heavy lifting themselves. If you are beginning to realize that the rules of human interaction you were taught are nothing but polite illusions designed to keep you weak, you need to stop what you are doing right now and hit the subscribe button. Like this video and join this community. We do not deal in toxic positivity or motivational garbage. We dissect the cold, hard neurobiological realities of power, influence, and control. If you want to step out of the matrix and become the architect of your own social reality, you need to be subscribed to this channel. Join the top 1% of strategic thinkers right now and let us dive into the highly specific, step-by-step application of this framework in the real world. Let us deploy this weapon in the ruthless, hyper-competitive environment of corporate America. Every single workplace has that one person who actively wants you to fail. Maybe it's a jealous coworker, a middle manager who feels threatened by your competence, or a rival who constantly tries to undermine you in meetings. Your natural instinct is to fight them, to avoid them, or to try and win them over by being overly nice and accommodating. Do not do any of those things. Instead, you are going to use the Benjamin Franklin effect, which is the historical blueprint for weaponized cognitive dissonance. You are going to walk right up to your enemy, and you are going to ask them for a highly specific, intellectually demanding favor. You do not ask them for a pen. You do not ask them to grab you a coffee. The favor must require them to use their unique expertise, and it must require a mild sacrifice of their time. You approach their desk, you maintain relaxed eye contact, and you say something like, "I know we have different approaches to how we handle these accounts, but I'm looking at this massive Q4 data projection, and you are honestly the only person in this entire building who truly understands the macro-level logistics of this software. I need your eyes on this for 10 minutes before I present it to the board." Notice the absolute brilliance of this trap. You have stroked their ego by acknowledging their supreme competence, making it nearly impossible for them to say no without looking insecure or petty. But more importantly, you have trapped them in a behavioral contradiction. They sit down and they spend 15 minutes fixing your spreadsheet. The trap snaps shut. As they are working on your behalf, the cognitive dissonance begins to boil in their subconscious. Their brain is screaming, "Why am I using my elite skills to make my rival look good in front of the board?" To resolve this excruciating mental error, their brain rewrites their perception of you. They convince themselves that they are a magnanimous mentor, taking you under their wing. By the end of the week, you will notice a terrifying shift in their behavior. The person who used to talk behind your back will suddenly start defending your ideas in meetings. They will start checking in on you. They have subconsciously designated you as their protege, simply because their ego couldn't handle the reality of doing a favor to an enemy. Now, let us take this exact same dark psychology and apply it to modern dating and romantic dynamics, where cognitive dissonance is responsible for the deepest, most irrational obsessions known to mankind. When the person you are dating starts to pull away, when they become distant, stop texting back quickly, and act indifferent, your biological panic response is to chase them. You start doing more favors for them. You buy them gifts. You offer to pay for everything. You drive out of your way to see them, and you constantly seek their validation. You are trying to buy their affection. This is social suicide. By doing this, you are actually triggering their cognitive dissonance against yourself. Their brain looks at your desperate behavior and says, "Why is this person trying so hard when I am giving them absolutely nothing? They must have very low value. They must be desperate." And their attraction to you drops to absolute zero. To flip the script and hack their loyalty, you must force them to invest in you exactly when they are pulling away. You must ask for a demanding favor that requires them to sacrifice their own comfort for your benefit. If they are acting distant on a Thursday, you do not send them a long emotional paragraph asking what is wrong. You call them and you say, "My car just broke down on the other side of the city and I have a massive presentation in the morning. I need you to drive out here and help me pick up my equipment right now." If they say no, you instantly know they have zero respect for you and you cut them off forever. But if they say yes and they drive 45 minutes in the freezing cold to help you, you have just initiated a massive psychological rewrite. As they are driving, their brain is glitching. They are thinking, "I was just about to ghost this person. I am not even sure if I like them anymore. So why am I giving up my Thursday night and burning my own gas to rescue them?" The cognitive dissonance peaks. To cure the pain, their brain forces a terrifying rationalization. Their brain tells them, "I must care about this person deeply. I must actually be falling in love with them. Otherwise, I would never make this kind of sacrifice." You have literally forced them to brainwash themselves into loving you, simply by making them work for you. This is the dark reality of the sunk cost fallacy. Human beings do not value what they are given for free. They only value what they bleed for, what they cry for, and what they sacrifice for. The more you make someone invest in you, the more their brain will forcefully convince them that you are the most valuable person on the face of the earth. Understanding this mechanism is also the ultimate defense against the most dangerous predators in society. This exact glitch, this weaponized cognitive dissonance, is the foundational blueprint of every single cult leader, every financial scammer, and every domestic abuser in history. They never start by asking you to give up your life. They start by asking for a tiny, insignificant favor. They ask for a small donation. They ask you to compromise just one tiny boundary. And once you do, your brain justifies it. Then they ask for a larger favor. They ask you to cut off a friend who is questioning the relationship. You do it, and the cognitive dissonance forces you to justify it by saying, "I am just protecting my relationship because it is so special." Before you know it, you have handed over your life savings, isolated yourself from your family, and sacrificed your entire identity for a monster. And because you have sacrificed so much, your brain absolutely refuses to admit that you were conned. The cognitive dissonance is so severe that victims will violently defend their abusers because admitting that they destroyed their own lives for a lie would mentally break them. They have been entirely programmed by their own investments. As you navigate your social reality moving forward, you must become a ruthless auditor of your own actions. You must constantly monitor where your energy is going. If you find yourself constantly bending over backwards, making excuses, and doing difficult favors for someone who treats you like an option, You must recognize that you are actively brainwashing yourself into a state of submission. You are letting the glitch control you. You must stop the investment immediately. Break the pattern. Let the cognitive dissonance hurt for a few days until your logical brain reasserts control over your reality. On the flip side, if you want to build an army of fiercely loyal allies, stop trying to be the nicest person in the room. Stop giving away your value for free. Start assigning tasks. Start asking for specific, demanding favors. Become the person that others sacrifice for, and you will watch as their own psychology forces them to pledge absolute loyalty to your frame. If this psychological breakdown shattered your perception of human loyalty and opened your eyes to the underlying code of influence, you must hit the subscribe button right now. We are stripping away the illusions of society and looking at the raw mechanics of power. Leave a comment down below with the word dissonance so I know you made it all the way to the end and that you possess the elite focus required to actually wield this knowledge. Do not forget to check the link in the description for highly classified, advanced training on mastering your reality and dominating every interaction you step into. Until next time, guard your investments, force the glitch, and never let them hack your loyalty.